Pluto is a dwarf planet that, even though we are curious to know about it today, has always been ignored, whether it was the Pioneer mission or Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. But because Pluto was constantly surrounded by controversies, scientists' curiosity about it kept increasing, and finally, in 2006, a dedicated mission for Pluto, New Horizons, was launched. Pluto was now in the limelight. In 2006, whether it was the New Horizons mission or Pluto being removed from the category of planets, people had started talking about Pluto now, although exploring Pluto was not that easy. What did New Horizons see on Pluto that still remains a mystery for us today? And now discussions are gaining momentum in the scientific community that a new mission should be sent to Pluto to solve those mysteries. So what exactly are those mysteries? It took almost 14 years to finalize this mission. Numerous zones, missions, concepts, proposals, pre-proposals, and on top of that, funding cuts. But finally, after a tough competition from rival teams, National Aeronautics and Space Administration had a total of 4 years, including Pluto fly in 2003 until 2006. A very tight schedule was made to design, build, and test this mission. Thousands of scientists were working wholeheartedly on this mission, and finally, after achieving this target on January 9th, this event near the 5 moons was historic in itself. July 14, 2015 was truly the biggest moment in the lives of those people who dedicated their entire lives to this mission. Yes, this entire mission went exactly according to plan from the very beginning. New Horizons was successful, and if you look at it in the true sense, our own solar system led us to that final corner. Even though it took time, but that was worth it. When the data from New Horizons arrived on Earth, it showed blue. But that's not all. There was something else too. The data also showed evidence of organic compounds. In Pluto's history, there were also traces of liquid on its surface, ice volcanoes that were erupting on the surface, and a great ocean, a hidden ocean of water beneath its surface. For scientists, getting so much from one mission was nothing less than a treasure. Besides Pluto, its moons also did not disappoint. The data from New Horizons showed that methane might have completely escaped from Pluto's atmosphere. Because of this, the poles appear brighter and darker. These are just a few of the discoveries that New Horizons made during its single flyby. But even now, why should we send a mission to Pluto according to scientists? So there are several reasons for this. The first is that New Horizons was a flyby mission. The spacecraft was heading towards Pluto at a speed of 84,000 kilometers per hour and just flew past Pluto. We know even less about them because the spacecraft didn't even go towards them. Secondly, Pluto is a dynamic world, which means that something or the other keeps changing here all the time. We do find evidence of nitrogen glaciers and such, but this doesn't give us any information about the daily changes, seasonal changes, or geological changes happening on Pluto. And this can only be possible with an orbiter mission that keeps revolving around Pluto for years. It's impossible to do this with a flyby mission, and the third thing that compels us to think about a new mission for Pluto is the new and advanced instruments. We know that the new questions arising from New Horizons data can be solved through advanced instruments. If we send an orbiter mission to Pluto, we can use radar to study the insides of its glaciers, and we can find out whether they even exist or not. With a thermal mapper, we can find out where Pluto's vast glaciers are actually getting their power from. We will also be able to find out whether ancient ice volcanoes inside it are still active today. Is this the thermal mapper? To map glaciers, we will need advanced and active instruments like light detection and ranging, so that we can detect the temperature changes occurring on Pluto's night side and day side. And to do all these tasks properly, we will need an orbiter, and that orbiter should be designed not for just a day or a few days, but for years of operation, which keeps sending us data week after week. And it keeps a constant watch on Pluto and its moons, and is able to observe their geology and atmosphere as they evolve. The mission concept for Pluto is ready, but designing this mission is the next most challenging step. A team of scientists at the Southwest Research Institute spent 2 years researching how to implement an orbiter in Pluto's orbit. The research found that to launch a spacecraft of New Horizons scale with advanced instruments, a new Saturn V-class launch vehicle would be required. We would need Jupiter's gravity assist, a nuclear electric stage, and a chemical propulsion braking stage. To reach Pluto, scientists found in the study what kind of payload would be needed for the orbiter and from which launch window the orbiter mission would be possible. Scientists discussed the main attributes and how the spacecraft would be sent from Earth to Pluto. The biggest breakthrough from this study was the solution to the propulsion system requirement for reaching Pluto. At first, the researchers added a lot of propellant mass to the spacecraft, but later they found that virtually the propellant needed to explore Pluto and its moons could be eliminated by doing a close flyby of Pluto's largest moon, Charon, that is, by using repeated gravity assist. This is exactly like the Cassini mission sent to explore Saturn, which used the gravity assist of Saturn's largest moon, Titan, to study Saturn and its moons. And when the team of scientists simulated this idea, it worked perfectly. It completely eliminated the hassle of carrying most of the fuel. After designing the mission, the scientists created the mission's timeline like this. The mission will be launched in December 2028. In December 2030, it will fly by Jupiter and increase its speed using a gravitational slingshot. In 2046, it will use braking to enter Pluto's orbit, and the mission will be completed in the year 2069. We could reach Pluto even faster if we had a high-power nuclear system available to increase the braking thrust. This would allow the spacecraft to slow down quickly when it gets near Pluto, but for now, slow trajectories are the only feasible option for us. This mission will study Pluto and its moons for 2 years. The braking maneuver will be completed using Charon's gravitational assist, and after that, the spacecraft will be placed in Pluto's orbit. The orbit around the planet will last for a few weeks, and during this close flyby, it will explore each of Pluto's moons. Dozens of such flybys will be conducted, and more than 30 close flybys of Charon alone will be carried out in this way. It will be similar to New Horizons, but because of the flight system, the orbiter's payload mass will be almost double. The weight of a full-fledged spacecraft system, along with the electrical and chemical propulsion systems, will be around 2,349 kilograms. These are the current estimates. However, the launch vehicle that the scientists have chosen can launch up to 30% more payload into space than this. The Bali orbiter will have most of the capabilities similar to New Horizons, but there will be some differences as well. And here we will talk about the three primary differences between the proposed orbiter and New Horizons. The first is that the orbiter will need more onboard fuel, because during its mission period, it will have to make continuous corrections to its orbit. In addition, fuel will also be needed to continuously operate the reaction wheels to stay stable at one point in orbit. Whereas New Horizon had a very small amount of fuel, it had completed its task. Which is not useful for an orbiter. The orbiter will have to send the collected data to Earth every 15 to 30 days. For that, a much larger dish antenna and transmitter will be needed. Whereas in New Horizons, the amount of fuel was enough to complete the work. It's feasible with our existing technology. Before 2015, that is, before the exploration of Pluto, whereas in New Horizons, the amount of fuel was enough to complete the work. He first studied terrestrial planets, then all the gas giants. However, after seeing the spectacular complexity of the Pluto system, scientists are now confused because there is a lot in the Kuiper Belt, dwarf planets, and planetary bodies. There is much to study, and several groups of scientists are arguing among themselves that Pluto should be studied in depth. While New Horizons had completed its mission with the available amount of fuel, New Horizons had completed its mission. And the scientists have referred to the results that will come from it, all in one concept, the gold standard Pluto Kuiper Belt exploration. While New Horizons had completed the required amount of fuel, while New Horizons had the amount of fuel, this technology could really prove to be game-changing for this mission. From this research, while New Horizons had completed the task of the amount of fuel, it could happen. This will have a major impact in the field of planetary science studies. Walney had completed the task of the amount of fuel. It is almost a quarter of the distance between our Earth and the Sun, while New Horizons had managed the amount of fuel. Pluto is a part of that same Kuiper belt, which today we know as a dwarf planet. While New Hydrogen had managed the amount of fuel, That's why National Aeronautics and Space Administration planned the New Horizons mission for Pluto, which did a flyby near Pluto on July 14, 2015. And the data we received from this mission was not easy for everyone to digest. It was surprising how such a small planet so far from the sun could hide so many secrets within itself. Hello friends, welcome to Documentary Library. I am your friend Shashi, and today we are about to embark on a journey. We will take a look at the mysterious activities happening in the unknown world of the planet Pluto. And the series of its mysteries has also begun. For the next 58 years, Pluto, its atmosphere, and the activities happening there remained a mystery for us humans. But then something special happened in 1988. Using the stellar occultation process, scientists discovered the atmosphere on this planet. Who knows how long this moment had been awaited? Stellar occultation is a phenomenon. When any planet or body passes in front of a bright star, then that star's gradual dimming in the light occurs. The atmosphere, the planet's size, rings, and a lot of incoming light gets suddenly blocked because of Pluto passing in front. But when this occultation happened, the starlight gradually dimmed, and because of the starlight, Pluto's atmosphere was almost freezing. From space, we also detected plutonium, carbon monoxide, and other gases, the elements that cover the surface of this planet. When astronomers graphed the light data, another conclusion emerged. The light did not penetrate Pluto's atmosphere all the way to the surface. This indicated the presence of clouds, fog, and similar phenomena there, which were blocking the starlight. Apart from this, astronomers noticed certain symmetries in the light curve, which confirmed this. Wanted to learn about the temperature changes happening in the atmosphere of this small mysterious object, which occurred during its 248-year orbital period. Let me tell you, Pluto completes one orbit around the Sun. Let me tell you, an astronomical unit is considered the distance between our Earth and the Sun, and when Pluto is farthest from the Sun, its distance becomes about 50 astronomical units, which means almost 50 times the distance between the Sun and our Earth. But in its orbit, there is a closest and a farthest distance. This difference of 20 astronomical units gives rise to interesting chemistry in Pluto's atmosphere and on its surface, as we know. The frozen ice on its surface sublimates and enters its atmosphere. Sublimation is a process in which something in solid form changes directly into gas without turning into liquid. temperature goes below minus 140 degrees Celsius, all the gases must freeze, and in this way, one day Pluto's atmosphere will collapse. But the observations made scientists think, because the results of the observations were that Pluto's atmosphere is not collapsing. In fact, it is getting thicker, which is possible because of its elliptical orbit around the Sun. Apart from this, another interesting fact about Pluto's atmosphere is that its atmosphere evolves quickly. Researchers have claimed that the density of carbon monoxide in Pluto's atmosphere has increased rapidly over the past few decades. But it was also found that the layer of carbon monoxide spreads more than 300 kilometers above the surface. Those molecules are carried away by solar winds. So carbon monoxide is continuously disappearing from Pluto's atmosphere. It is getting lost somewhere in this dark space along with the solar winds. So then, how can carbon monoxide increase on Pluto? The answer is a bit complicated, but you will definitely get it later in the video. But for now, no one has any doubt that this planet, which is so far from the Sun, is completely cold and frozen. But this is where the story of Pluto's atmosphere composition gets interesting, thanks to methane, which causes global warming on Pluto. Yes, Pluto. Increasing altitude, Pluto's temperature rises up to minus 173 degrees Celsius. In the same way, the pressure gradient also works here. The pressure on its surface remains up to 20 microbars, and with height, it becomes 3 microbars. But the formation of winds does not happen because of the vertical temperature and pressure gradient, but rather because of the horizontal temperature and pressure gradient. Now, on Pluto, very strong winds blow in the horizontal direction, and because of these winds, ice gets redistributed all over Pluto. At this altitude, the friction caused by the surface doesn't exist, which could slow down the speed of these winds. That's why it's believed that such high wind speeds are possible on Pluto. This is just like our Earth, where the speed of winds increases with altitude. But scientists are surprised that on Pluto, this speed is much higher than expected. The mystery of winds on Pluto still remains unsolved, but solar winds make this mystery even more interesting. Even though Pluto is at an average distance of 6 billion kilometers, solar winds still reach its atmosphere. However, by the time they reach Pluto, they become 1,000 times less dense than they are on Earth. These solar winds contain protons, electrons, ionized helium, hydrogen, and oxygen, which reach Pluto at a speed of 300 to 500 kilometers per second. Both solar winds and ultraviolet radiation play a major role in Pluto's atmosphere. Scientists believe that due to ionized ultraviolet photons, the atmospheric gases of Pluto also become ionized, and then they are carried away by the Sun's interplanetary magnetic field. And in this way, solar winds are leaking Pluto's atmosphere into space, but because of this action, the solar winds themselves slow down. The laws of physics say that momentum, that is, the product of moving mass and velocity, is always conserved. In a system, the laws of this action are that momentum, that is, the product of moving mass and velocity, is always conserved. We have mentioned earlier that its atmosphere contains a significant amount of clouds and fog. Molecular nitrogen, carbon monoxide, and methane are the main ingredients of its atmosphere on Earth. We call this part the troposphere, where the temperature decreases as you go higher. Because of this, the water molecules present in the sky become supersaturated and form clouds. After this, in the stratosphere, the temperature starts increasing twice with altitude. If we look at Pluto, the tropopause and stratosphere are not very thick. In fact, it is only 1 or 2 kilometers wide, which means that on Pluto, clouds form very close to the surface. The content in Pluto's atmosphere is very low and the particles are very fine. Their size is in microns. So, these don't form big Earth-like snowflakes, but still, the snow here follows a regular hexagonal symmetry, just like the snowflakes on Earth. They're like baby versions of snowflakes, baby snowflakes, and who would want to see only the birth of snow falling from the sky, especially if you're a space lover? Because it's night in the sky, the chances become quite low. Pluto's magnetic field is still a mystery for us, and without a magnetic field, we can't even imagine auroras. So, the concept of auroras on Pluto also depends on the presence or absence of other things for now. However, the mystery you're about to hear has changed all our previous assumptions about Pluto. We talked earlier about Pluto's atmosphere leaking, but a surprising discovery shocked astronomers, and that discovery is cryo. Volcanic eruption of materials like water, ammonia, and methane. Scientists were surprised that even after the leakage, the amount of gases in Pluto's atmosphere kept increasing. Even in the past few decades, Pluto's atmosphere has become thicker, and the reason for that is also this cryovolcanism. A study conducted by astronomers found that for cryovolcanism, there should be carbon monoxide, molecular nitrogen, methane, and molecular hydrogen in the atmosphere. If any of these substances are present in excess on any body, then you can understand that the chances of cryovolcanism occurring on that body increase significantly. Along with this, there are also possibilities of cryovolcanoes on Pluto's largest moon, Charon. However, we have data that tells us so much about Pluto's atmosphere. The gases released from cryovolcanoes go into its atmosphere. Activities are still going on inside Pluto, which means Pluto is still alive, the planet hidden in the dark corners of our solar system and the depths of space, which was once considered the 9th planet of our solar system. It had made its place in the imaginations of people and scientists. Since its discovery in 1930, Pluto has remained a mystery for us. But in 2015, the New Horizons spacecraft made a historic flyby, and then we got some such images of Pluto. Scientists were amazed because there were far more mysterious things happening on Pluto than we had expected. New Horizons had presented us with a view of Pluto's dynamic and complex world, where we could see huge glaciers, tall mountains, and a clear yet hazy atmosphere. But as we studied Pluto, a very strange question emerged. Could there be life hidden somewhere in Pluto's icy world? At first glance, Pluto doesn't seem like it's made for life at all. It's extremely cold, with temperatures dropping to around minus 225 degrees Celsius. It's very far from the sun, where even sunlight reaches in very small amounts. Despite such harsh conditions, some recent discoveries have astonished scientists. These discoveries suggest that the ingredients necessary for life exist on Pluto, but they are dormant. Beneath Pluto's frozen surface, today we are going to explore the possibilities of hidden life on Pluto. We will examine the conditions on that planet. We will also look at some surprising discoveries by fellow Neo Harijan, which indicate the possibility of life in Pluto's extreme environment. The question is quite significant. Despite such harsh conditions, does Pluto still harbor life? Pluto's conditions. To understand the possibility of life on Pluto, we first need to understand the conditions present on this dwarf planet, a region in the Kuiper Belt that is much farther than Neptune, the last planet in our solar system. This area is filled with icy bodies. It is believed that these bodies are remnants of our early solar system. Pluto is also a part of these icy bodies in this region. This is an extremely cold and frozen world. Its surface is mainly made of nitrogen ice, with traces of methane, carbon monoxide, and water ice mixed in. The surface temperature of Pluto is counted among the lowest in the solar system, where the average temperature remains minus 225 degrees Celsius. Such extreme temperatures mean that if there is any water on Pluto, it would be completely frozen solid. Life as we know it cannot survive in such harsh conditions. However, recent discoveries, they suggest that Pluto may not be as inhospitable to life as it appears. Scientists have seen some rays of hope here. The strangest discovery made by National Aeronautics and Space Administration's New Horizons mission is about the possible existence of subsurface oceans beneath Pluto's surface. The discovery of this hidden ocean came to light after observing a surface feature on Pluto, Sputnik Planitia, a large heart-shaped region present on Pluto. It is believed that this area is made up of nitrogen and methane ice. This area is completely smooth, except for one or two craters. No pits are visible here. This plain area is believed to have been geologically active in its recent past. Vyconic is confident that with the help of subsurface oceans on Pluto, all the features they are seeing on Pluto can be explained. For example, the lines and cracks seen on Pluto's surface are formed due to the expansion happening in the oceans beneath its surface. When water freezes, it expands due to changes in its internal structure. And we can see this same effect on Pluto's surface as well. New Horizons also detected ammonia on Pluto's surface, which further strengthens our belief in the existence of oceans of water beneath Pluto's surface. Because ammonia acts like an anti-freezing agent. This lowers the freezing point of water significantly, so it doesn't freeze even when the temperature goes below zero. If subsurface oceans exist on Pluto, then it could be an ideal place for life. Even on Earth, we see life thriving in extreme environments like around hydrothermal vents in the deep oceans. The organisms there survive on chemical energy without sunlight. Similar conditions could exist on Pluto, where life might be thriving beneath its icy surface, relying on some chemical reactions and geothermal energy. As far as we have understood Pluto, there is no end to the possibilities here. Evidence of geological activity. Another astonishing discovery from the New Horizons mission was the evidence of ongoing geological activity on Pluto. Before the flyby, scientists thought that Pluto was a cold and dead world where there would be no geological activity. But what they saw was a landscape that was completely different from their expectations. On Pluto's surface, you can see many different types of terrains. There are some very large plain areas, some big peaks and mountains, and in some places there are deep valleys. But a very large heart-shaped region, Sputnik Planitia, was found to be the most unusual. This region is a very large icy plain made of solid nitrogen ice, and its surface appears to have formed recently. Only a few impact craters can be seen here. This shows that the surface of Sputnik Planitia is being formed repeatedly. It is possible that this is happening because of convection currents in the subsurface ocean beneath that icy surface. Several more pieces of evidence related to geological activities on Pluto were also found from Pluto's mountains, which are primarily made of water ice. These mountains are up to 350 meters high, such tall and large mountains. This means that Pluto's crust is made of strong and stable water ice, which is capable of supporting such massive structures. The mountains made of water ice and the plains of nitrogen ice on Pluto indicate a complex and active geology. But one question that was troubling scientists was, who or what was driving these activities on Pluto? The thermal energy generated by radioactive decay in Pluto's core was considered as one possible explanation. When radioactive elements break down, they release heat. This heat is so intense that it can drive subsurface oceans and geological activities on Pluto's surface. Another strange possibility is cryovolcanism, or what we can call ice volcanoes. On Pluto, instead of molten rock or lava like traditional volcanoes, these volcanoes erupt substances like water, ammonia, and methane. New Horizons observed very large dome-like structures on Pluto's surface, which could possibly be cryovolcanoes. And if that's the case, it would be a major piece of evidence for the existence of a subsurface ocean on Pluto. This indicates that liquid water and some chemicals from beneath the surface are reaching Pluto's surface. Because of this, a new surface is being formed, and it also confirms the presence of liquid water beneath the surface. The discovery of active geology on Pluto further increases the possibility of life on this planet. Geological activities on Earth also play a major role in supporting life. If similar activities are happening on Pluto as well, then the possibility of life beneath Pluto definitely increases. Potential for life in extreme environments. The discovery of subsurface oceans and geological activities on Pluto also raises many questions. Can life exist in these extreme environments? To answer this, we need to understand the conditions for life in such extreme environments on Earth, our planet Earth, where life can be found even in very extreme and inhospitable places. For example, the deep sea. Hydrothermal vents are the foundation of that entire ecosystem. There, organisms don't rely on sunlight but on the energy released from Earth's core. These organisms support themselves with energy. They produce energy from chemical energy, which is called chemosynthesis. There, bacteria convert chemical compounds like hydrogen sulfide into energy, which also serves as a source of food for these organisms. Similarly, life has also been discovered beneath the icy peaks of Antarctica. Traces of life have also been found in acidic hot springs and even in rocks found deep underground. These extremophiles are organisms that are able to survive even in extreme conditions. This shows that life adapts itself to almost every kind of environment, and that's why it is found almost everywhere on Earth. If life can be found in such extreme environments on Earth, then it's not hard to believe that traces of life like this could also exist on Pluto. If a subsurface ocean really exists on Pluto, then it could be an excellent source for life to develop there. Although this ocean would be extremely cold and filled with darkness, life will still find a way to adapt to such an environment. Just like Earth's extremophiles, they would also rely on chemical reactions for energy. Apart from this, the ammonia and complex molecules found on Pluto indicate that the building block elements of life are also present on Pluto. On Earth, ammonia plays an important role in the formation of amino acids, which make up proteins and are the basis of life. If similar chemical processes are happening on Pluto, then life like that on Earth could also be seen on Pluto. But the thing to note is that while the conditions on Pluto are certainly suitable to support life, we have not yet found any signs of life on Pluto. Evidence of subsurface oceans and geological activities. They are certainly surprising, but this is not proof of life on Pluto. To find life on Pluto, we will have to explore further. Future missions and exploration. Whatever we learned about Pluto from the New Horizons mission, those revelations were truly astonishing. This mission has further enhanced our understanding of Pluto, and there are also some new questions that often arise in our minds about the possibility of life on this distant world. To find answers to these questions, we will have to send missions to Pluto in the future. There is currently an existing proposal to study Pluto, which involves sending an orbiter and a lander to Pluto. With the orbiter, Pluto can be studied in even more detail. Its atmosphere can be analyzed, surface mapping can be done, and the science of geological activities will be explored. On the other hand, the lander will provide us with direct measurements of Pluto's surface and subsurface. It will help us find signs of subsurface oceans and the possibility of life on Pluto. Another potential mission could involve sending a probe into Pluto's atmosphere to study its surface and atmosphere. In this mission, advanced instruments will be used to determine the composition of Pluto's atmosphere and surface. After this, the focus will be on searching for organic molecules and compounds that either support life or indicate the possibility of life, sent directly to Pluto. In the future, by exploring the Kuiper Belt, we can search for signs of life on the outer edges of the solar system. The Kuiper Belt is filled with many other dwarf planets like Pluto. If we find any signs of life anywhere in the Kuiper Belt, then Pluto is an easy target for life. That's why we should definitely go to Pluto in the coming decades. Because New Horizons has revealed many of its mysteries to us, the answers to which we are still searching for today. Friends, what are your thoughts on this topic? Can there really be life on Pluto? Be sure to share your response in the comment section. Friends, how did you like this video? If you enjoyed it, be sure to like it and share it with your friends. For more informative videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and enable the bell notification. Friends, we'll meet again soon with another new informative video. Till then, stay curious, be happy, and goodbye.